There are lots of ways to beat an opponent on the basketball court. Put a man on a poster, break his ankles, or push him to the absolute edge physically or mentally. And while normal hoopers usually go for the first two options, the third option is reserved for menaces. These guys could care less about sportsmanship. They just want to see you lose. They are the agents of chaos, become the most hated players ever, and honestly, they make the game more fun. Some are loved, some are really hated, but all are unforgettable. These are the greatest menaces in NBA history. To kick it off, I got a man that none of us really like, Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks is the newest on the list, but even though he's only been in the league for less than a decade, he's already built a first-ballot resume for the Menace Hall of Fame. He doesn't just lean into being the bad guy, he embraces it. This guy does everything from talking smack to smacking players to dressing like an actual villain. And when people boo him, it seems to encourage him more. He even gave himself a name. But one of the craziest things Dillon Brooks ever did was try to start beef with LeBron.
I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come.
And even though he was later mauled by the bear, it shows that Dillon Brooks is ready to make enemies with anyone, including his own team. And that makes him a certified pest. Speaking of, if MVP stood for most vile pest, then our next man up would have more MVPs than Michael Jordan, Patrick Beverley. Pat Bev isn't in the league to drop buckets or sell jerseys. He's here to ruin your night. The guy plays like a mosquito with a Red Bull addiction. He hovers all over you, claps in your face, and taunts you. Doesn't matter if you're the biggest, the strongest, or the fastest player, he'll always be the most annoying. Simply put, Pat Bev is an agent of chaos. And what fuels that chaos is his insane confidence. His team could be down 25 and he'd still be barking like he's up double digits. Pat Bev was once asked, "What's your favorite LeBron highlight?" He said, "The block I had on LeBron." And that's Patrick Beverley. He doesn't care who you are. Point guard, forward, MVP, legend. If you're breathing, you're getting locked up. Or at least annoyed into oblivion. But you gotta admit, he did make the game interesting. Next up is Meta World Peace. Ron Artest wasn't your regular menace. He didn't try to play mind games or go out of his way to make your life miserable. He was actually kind of nice. But you see, he had a problem. He was a certified crash out. When Ron Artest was on the court, he already brought a lot of intensity. Lockdown defense, elbows flying, technical fouls. But when he got mad, it would be in your best interest to stay far away from him. I mean, this man almost took Harden's head off. But his ultimate crash out caused the most infamous brawl in NBA history. The Malice in the Palace.
Oh, y Artest se ha metido, ahora sí. Y le entra a golpes a un aficionado. Y ahora entra Steven Jackson.
You know the story. A Pistons fan threw a cup of beer at the man, and Artest decided to end the man's life. You know, another day at the office. It might have led him to getting the longest suspension in NBA history. On to Artest's late career teammate as the 7th biggest menace in NBA history, the late, great Kobe Bryant. Kobe was always seen as the hero, but make no mistake, under the cape was a stone-cold villain. The Mamba mentality might have helped him become one of the greatest to ever touch a basketball, but it also made him a certified menace. Don't believe me? Let me run through some of his greatest hits. Kobe Bryant learned multiple languages for the sole purpose of trash-talking his opponents and getting in their heads. He regularly refused to pass to his own teammates because he thought they didn't work hard enough.
The way he's going, and he doesn't embarrass you as much.
Kobe, he had 5 kings around him. That was an odd.
He once confiscated his teammates' Kobe shoes because he thought they were too soft to wear them.
We got back to LA that next day, bro, and the equipment manager was just coming around with a big bucket, just scooping Kobe's out of everybody's locker. And me and Nick like, what you doing? He said, Kobe think y'all soft, man. He don't want y'all wearing his shoes.
Oh my God.
And those are just the things that we know about. Kobe Bryant was a basketball GOAT and legend, and he was also the epitome of intense, harsh, and tremendously rude. He walked a very thin line between confidence and arrogance. He may not have been dirty or unpredictable like your typical menaces, but make no mistake, Kobe was feared on the court with his mind games. Next up on the list, a man who was fear, Charles Oakley. If you looked up the word enforcer, you'd probably see Charles Oakley's face staring back at you. Strong, physical, and always ready to throw down with anyone that even looked at his teammates the wrong way. The oak tree wasn't just a menace, though. He was the enforcer that menaces were afraid of. The man never backed down, never softened up, and never lost a fight. Because most people were too smart not to start one in the first place. Charles Oakley's nickname was Oak Tree, and with the way he was built, it wasn't just a clever nickname, it was a warning. Because when Oakley was around, every possession came with bruises, and every game was a war zone. Speaking of an enforcer, the 5th greatest menace in NBA history, the ever so popular Draymond Green. Now, there are 3 types of menaces: bully, enforcer, and pest. Draymond is all of them. Over the years, Dre has consistently showcased 3 elite skills: lockdown defense, a genius-level basketball IQ, and assault.
Every team has an enforcer, and the Warriors have Draymond.
The reason? Right there. Now, that right.
Caught off guard, and then he just kind of ran in. He couldn't stop himself.
Draymond, born to fight in the UFC, forced to play basketball. But what if I told you the physical harm was just part of what made him a menace? The guy is also a grade A trash talker and a certified crash out. Because of his inability to control himself, Draymond has the 2nd most ejections in NBA history, and his habit of chasing the wrong ball probably cost the Warriors the 2016 title. But even with all his antics, you gotta admit, the man is entertaining. And on the topic of technical fouls, one of the biggest menaces to grace the NBA, Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace holds the record for the most technical fouls in a single season, 41 techs in 1 year. He also has the 3rd most technical fouls in NBA history and the most ejections ever. That's not a stat line, that's a resume. Rasheed Wallace didn't just play the game, he confronted it. He constantly challenged the refs, mocked the media, told coaches exactly how he felt in the middle of the freaking game. He was the kind of guy who'd elbow you in the post and then help you up just to do it again. What made Rasheed Wallace a real menace was the fact that he was too honest for the league to handle, too fired up to control, but still too skilled to ignore. He said what he wanted, did what he wanted, and still got buckets. Sheed was one of the last of a dying breed. You know, guys who weren't media trained or PR polished to death. And although he was a certified menace with zero filter, he played with heart, which is exactly why Rasheed Wallace might just be the most lovable menace the game's ever seen. Unlike the 3rd best menace in NBA history, a man that no one loved, Bill Laimbeer. When you're on a team called the Bad Boy Pistons, a team filled with bullies and enforcers, and you're somehow still the worst one in the group, that's when you know you're a menace. Bill Laimbeer was a basketball player, but playing basketball wasn't his main job. His main role was to make life as miserable as possible for his opponents. He had no problem playing dirty as long as it gave him an advantage. Whether it was physical fouls, trash talk, or mind games, Laimbeer was the type of guy who would commit a flagrant foul, stare you down, and then smile like it was a part of the play. And, well, it probably was. There was a reason he was the main enforcer of the Bad Boy Pistons. And let's just say he was very good at his job. Everyone hated him. His opponents, the fans, the media, everyone. He embraced the villain role like no one else, and he wore it like a badge of honor. And to this day, he still remains one of the most hated players in NBA history. Now for the second biggest menace in the history of the NBA, a man that might just be the most vile player to grace a basketball court, is Kevin Garnett. Sure, KG was a genius on both ends of the floor. Offense, defense, hustle, he had it all. But his most dangerous weapon? That mouth. There's trash talk, and then there's whatever Kevin Garnett was doing. He didn't just try to get in your head, he aimed for your soul. The things he said were so personal, so outrageous, and so offensive that it went beyond mind games. It was psychological warfare. He once crossed the line with Carmelo Anthony by insulting his wife. He called his own teammate battling alopecia a cancer patient. And to top it all off, he once looked Tim Duncan in the eye and said, "Happy Mother's Day," knowing dang well that Duncan's mother had passed away. This man didn't just push buttons, he smashed them. Kevin Garnett might be one of the greatest power forwards of all time, but he'll mostly be remembered for his absolutely filthy trash talk and intensity. Now that we've gone over the greatest menaces in NBA history, there's still one man on everyone's mind, someone who did whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted, and didn't even let the greatest player of all time put him in a box. The man, the myth, the menace, Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman was actually an amazing defender and the greatest rebounder in NBA history. The man could guard all 5 positions and snatch rebounds like stealing candy from a baby. He led the league in rebounding for 7 years in a row and studied specific shooters' jumpers to know exactly where and when to be in position.
Michael shoot over here. I position myself right there. Now I hit the rim. It's boom, click and go back this way. Boom, here, click and go that way. Boom, that way. Click here and go back this way. So basically, I just started learning how to put myself in a position to get the ball.
If you were ever the Worm's opponent, he had only 2 things in mind: grab boards and ruin your entire night. The man was a walking disruption on and off the court. He was the perfect definition of a wild card. Not surprising since he was part of the Bad Boy Pistons. On the court, you got the full Rodman treatment. Mind games, trash talk, getting under your skin, and of course, boxing you out so hard that you'd question your career. And then he proceeded to grab a rebound over your head. But off the court, that's where his menace level hit legendary status. This man skipped practice during the NBA Finals to wrestle with Hulk Hogan. He tried to have a baby with Madonna.
She asked me that if I got her pregnant, she paid me $20 million.
What?
Whatever.
And you was at the gambling at the table?
That's if the baby was born.
The man went to clubs the night before games until 6 a.m. And he once wore a wedding dress to promote his book, Bad as I Wanna Be. Oh, and let's not forget these days. He's besties with the leader of one of the most brutal dictatorships on the planet. Forget this kid. This is the real Dennis the Menace. If you liked this one, I did a top 10 trash talkers video a few months ago. Link is in the description. Let me know your favorite Menace memories over the years, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay blessed.